Every other Spartan, every soldier, when they hear about this, they're gonna hate us. You know that, right?
Hello everyone, we're doing our top 5 games of the year. Hi Dan.
Hello.
There's a Dan. We're going to look back on the year, talk about some of our favourites. You know, this is our personal opinions, you know. We obviously haven't played every game that's come out this year, every big game. I've certainly tried to, I don't know about you Dan, but I've certainly tried to play as big of a variety of games as possible this year. I think a part of me knew we'd do this again.
Yeah, well I enjoyed doing it last year.
Yeah, it was fun. Last year I remember like Bayonetta was number 1, I think, and it was just like Nintendo stuff ruled. I mean, I get it looking back on it. It was a good year for Nintendo, but I wanted to kind of try and get a bit more variety. I'm still in the middle of playing through Ori and the Blind Forest. I haven't played Xenoblade X yet. I've just ordered it. It hasn't come yet. And I purposely haven't played Fallout 4 because that would just consume my life. So so the first game on my list, number 5, I've got Splatoon. I thought about putting Ori and the Blind Forest here because I'm really loving that game, but I'm not that far into it, so I didn't think that'd be quite fair. And Splatoon is such a great new IP for Nintendo that I thought I should really just give it a nod. I think it would be higher on my list if they had everything ready for the launch, because I know that's some people will be like, oh, that's unfair because they have everything ready now, but for me, like, you have to have everything within a window for online games. Otherwise people just lose interest, and I was kind of one of those people. That being said, I really enjoyed it. It's a really unique game. You know, I love jumping around on the gamepad. I love the motion controls even, and it works really well for me, and I really love the style of it. I love the universe. I even enjoyed some of the single player stuff, especially like the final boss is...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about single player actually. Yeah, like what did you make of it?
I thought like largely it was pretty mediocre. Like it was a bit dull. I think some of the levels could have been a bit more exciting.
It felt like an afterthought compared to the multiplayer, I will admit.
Sure, but it was fine. It was fun enough, you know. It passed the time all right, and none of it was boring, and I think it was all worth it just to get to the final boss, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I love the music as well. I don't really have anything more to say about Splatoon, so I think we'll just move on. But yeah, if you haven't played Splatoon, you should definitely get it. Number 4, I've got Rise of the Tomb Raider.
I knew this game was going to be on your list.
Yeah. I kind of like have wrestled with where to put it, but I think this is probably right. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go back and play it very much.
I've not played it yet, I would admit.
Yeah, well, no spoilers, but I absolutely loved it, and I think it just improves on the last one in like every way possible. I really liked the last one, but one of the problems I always had was stuff like the stealth was rubbish in the game, and there was kind of like they tried to implement a bit of stealth in there, but it was so easy to get detected, and there wasn't really a whole lot you could do. The stealth, I think, could be a lot better, and that's what they did. They made it way better. It used to be really bare bones, and now it's just awesome, and you can like set up traps, you can like craft like weapons on the fly to kill people. It's like you're a fucking predator. It's awesome.
Does it feel more open world or like more like areas to explore than the previous one?
Definitely. The map's way bigger. There's a lot of different things happening kind of dynamically on the fly. Like you'll see like different animals roaming about, and enemy soldiers will come and just randomly show up in areas. There's a lot more interesting stuff like that going on. There's just way more to do in the overworlds as well. And you know, I can't go on without mentioning the tombs, which are just awesome in this game. There's way more interesting, and I think, you know, in the last game they were fine, but they weren't really that interesting. They were quite samey. There was only like a few very distinctive places, but in this one, every tomb has its own like ideas, its own designs, its own settings. Some of the settings are really crazy and elaborate, and I thought they were just way better designed. In the last game, I didn't really give a shit about where I was, and like in this, I was kind of invested in it in this game, which was awesome.
The world building does sound a lot better than the previous game.
Yeah, sure. And the story like isn't amazing, but it's definitely a lot better than the last one. There's a lot less of Laura's shitty friends, which I just fucking hated in the last one, but in this one it's much more about establishing her as like a strong heroine.
Yeah.
One of like the minor problems before I go on that I had with the last game was that she's like getting torn the fuck up. She's like falling out of like parachutes.
It almost become like a joke in itself.
Yeah, she's like getting tortured and everything, and she never once like really swears. The worst she says is like bastards, but in this game game, she does swear. Why didn't you have that in the last one? Because
More human.
yeah, when she's like climbing a cliff and it's falling apart, she's like, oh fuck, shit, fuck, because that's what an ordinary person would be like, you know? So I'm glad they got that in, even if that's just a very small thing and I'm just someone as a potty mouth who appreciates that. But
You pick up on them sort of little details.
yeah. Anyway, number 3. I'll try not to go on too much about this, but I've got Halo 5 Guardians at number 3.
Cool.
And so the story, a bit of a, I'm gonna be honest, a bit of a crushing disappointment as someone who came off the back of Halo 4's story, really excited about what this would be, and they kind of just like took it in a totally different direction, abandoned everything that Halo 4 set up. They kind of quietly got rid of the didact in the comics, which was lame as fuck. And the story, like, with that said, has some cool moments. I like that Buck's in it. I like some of the new characters, even though they don't really have a lot of room to breathe. I really like that they had Blue Team in there.
As someone who played Halo 4 and didn't really get involved in the lore of Halo in general, going straight to Halo 5's story, I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. All of a sudden, Master Chief's got a bunch of these people around him and I didn't know who they were.
Yeah, they still have a problem that they rely too heavily on people knowing the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And like as a fan, like it's less of a problem to me, but I think it's just a bad idea. It's like, you know, the Star Wars expanded universe. If they'd brought in like a bunch of like obscure characters from that into like episode 7 and they didn't do that, you know, that is still a problem. But for me, it was just like, that's just like a small problem in like a much larger set of problems for me. Like the storytelling, it was like flawed all over the place. So I won't go into that further, but the gameplay of it, the structure of it, the pacing of it is really good, I think. We've played through it a bit in co-op. We should do some more. I think it's fantastic. I like the revival system. On a gameplay level, it's all like sound as a pound, and the multiplayer is awesome. I love Breakout. I love Warzone. Definitely have to go back to it. They've just added some new maps. I have to go back and play it some more. Halo 5 like is just such a return to form in terms of like, you know, just the gameplay. Unfortunately, like the story, like as a story guy, kind of lets me down, but everything else on a pure gameplay level is fucking awesome, I think. I'm excited for Halo 6 whenever that comes out. The next game, number 2 on my list, may surprise you, I don't know, but I've got Guitar Hero Live here.
Oh, that does surprise me. I completely forgot that you even like played a lot of that game.
God, I really like this game. For a period, I thought about putting it at number 1, but no, I'll get to that. But Guitar Hero Live, I think everyone should play it. It's like going super cheap right now, and nobody's really played it, and you know, we might not get a sequel if it doesn't pick up, but I've really enjoyed this game. Everything about it shouldn't work. They've got like 90s FMV cutscenes and it's all live action footage. That should just be lame as hell, but there's something like profoundly euphoric about it, and just, I mean, it's obviously very clean cut. There's nobody taking drugs in the crowd, which would definitely be the case at like those kind of venues, but I really love the new guitar. I don't think I can go back. It feels really good. The 2 rows of buttons on the neck of the guitar, that just works so much better for me. And there's a whole lot more variety you can have in terms of like, you know, the strumming combinations and everything. It's way more varied than Rock Band and like previous Guitar Heroes ever were. I really love it. I think they're really onto something great here. And like the cream of the crop for me is Guitar Hero TV, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's sort of like a live streaming service where you can access like the entire back catalogue of DLC theoretically for free by earning credits, and you can play along live. It's kind of like, imagine you're watching something like MTV or any other music channel, for instance. It's like, you know, everyone's watching the same, there's like different channels on Guitar Hero TV, and you pick a one which has like whatever you like. Maybe there's like a metal program playing, you want to play some metal or some pop or some rock. You choose the one you want, and it will cycle through live a bunch of like music videos, and you play along with the music videos. There will be like a leaderboard of where you're placing, so the better you do, the higher you get within like the set rank that it has by the side. And say you do really well, you'll get like number 1 and number 2 and number 3. You get extra XP, so you can unlock like new stuff for your guitar, you can unlock new power-ups, you can upgrade how many points you get from each strum, or you can upgrade your star power. It's really robust, it's really addictive, and I found myself just playing this mode for ages. Like, I've just bought like a new guitar because I fucked up the old one. I can't wait to get back into it. I was gonna play the shit out of it because it's fucking awesome. And I'm sorry I'm swearing so much, by the way, but I'm just very enthusiastic about this game.
It's what happens when you talk about rock.
Yeah, everyone should go out and play it because it's definitely worth it, I think.
I'll be honest, I've never really been into Rock Band or Guitar Hero, but the way you're talking about this is making me want to pick this up now.
I think it's definitely worth a shot, at least. So, number one, I'm not really 100% sure about placing this at number one, but I think this is probably artistically the most interesting game that I found this year was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. A lot of people have been really disappointed by it, and I totally get it. But for me, it worked so well. The stealth mechanics, well, all of the mechanics pretty much, are so fucking polished and so tight, and it just feels great. I love all the new systems. I love all the buddy characters. Pretty much everything about it I love. Even the story I found really interesting. The story obviously ends before it should. There are clear development issues that have happened there. They've cut out the final chapter, and when you come to that point, it's fucking crushing. Such disappointment and such heartache because the rest of the game is so good that you're just like, why does this end? For me, that's kind of how I felt about it. I'd rather feel that strongly about it than not feel anything at all.
The story in general, as a Metal Gear fan, was largely underwhelming.
Yeah, it's a very different type of story. I get it, it's not the best Metal Gear game, but to me, isn't
gameplay-wise, it is easily the best Metal Gear game, though, realistically.
Yeah, and for me, a slightly underwhelming Metal Gear game is still better than most games.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never been that big of a Metal Gear fan. I mean, I've always liked it. I think the last one that I really got into was Snake Eater, and that was such a long time ago. But with this game, I just like every aspect of it just totally took me in. I totally get why people hate this game, but for me, it just did it for me. And I don't think I'll ever fully understand why, but just its combination of how polished it was. I really just love the cinemaphilia of the cutscenes and how like self-indulgent it is, and it's just there's no kind of self-shame or self-awareness about it at all. It's just like we just did whatever the fuck we like.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, actually.
So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, awesome, I loved it. And that's 2015 for me. You may have noticed that like the Xbox One has kind of dominated my list this year.
Well, like we were saying before we started, like last year you had 4 Wii U games and 1 Xbox game, and this year it's flipped.
Did I? I don't even remember. What was the Xbox One game last year?
Shadow of Mordor.
Right, okay.
Anyway, I think we'll leave it there then. Thanks, Liam, for your top 5.
No problem. I like doing these, they're fun. Everyone should tell us their thoughts on what their top 5 favourites were this year. I'd love to read that.
Yeah,
like, sincerely, I'm not just saying that because I want comments. I want to know what were your favourite games of the year, because they're probably guaranteed to be totally different from mine. I know a lot of people love Xenoblade.
I think that's the cool thing about this year, though, is that there's a big variety in people's favourite games.
Definitely, yeah. There's been a lot of stuff that slipped 2016, like Zelda and Star Fox, but what was really in 2015 has been pretty damn good, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.